Hello and welcome to tonight's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Grossi, and I got a great show planned. God, it's going to be fun. This is a guy I've been following for a while on Instagram. I'm a fan of the stuff that he's doing and what he's doing for the comic book world, and I'll bring him on in one moment. But before we do, let's look at today's Wiz comic. I'll hold it up for a moment. Don't worry, soon I'm working on getting audio for these, but I'm going to hold it up for a moment, and then I'll come back and we'll bring on our guest. And that was today's Wiz. Strip that I love doing, comes out every Wednesday by 9 a.m. Eastern. You can follow it at the Wiz Comic, which is where? Right about there. Okay? Both on Instagram and Facebook. And let me bring on tonight's guest. He's the founder of ASAP Imagination. He does great things for the comic world. Let's bring on Haydes. Hello.
Hello, dude. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Thank you very much for having me on.
Oh, anytime. We got already Sixth Element of Hip Hop. I don't know who that is.
Reno. Yeah, I do. Hey, man.
Yeah.
What go on?
Hey. So first off, thank you for coming on. As I actually mentioned, I don't know if you saw my special I did Monday night about the filmmaker Brian, is it Ribeiro, I think you say his last name. Anyway, I mentioned that this whole month, except the 12th, which is next Wednesday, I'm having all people from ASAP Imagination on.
Mm-hmm.
So really, if I didn't have the other show, I would have had a month. This would have been your month on Get in Tune. Let's see. What does that say here? Hades, anything it means worship Greek deity now, or this.
Thank you, man.
I was actually going to do like some Greek myth reference to your introduction, but I forgot to ask you if it was okay.
It's fine by me.
You know. So, but yeah, no. So I'm going to have a whole time dedicated to you guys. I think what you guys do is great, and we're going to talk about that in a few moments. We got George on.
Good evening, sir.
Another great guy and friend of the show.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been on, I don't even know how many times George has been on. But yeah, great guest. Love his Wonder Duck comic.
Oh, he's great. He's writing for us as well now, which is incredible. You know,
that's great
to have him on board.
That's great. Yeah, no, he's a good guy, good worker. Actually, him and I have to talk about doing well, it was a comic. Now I want to do it as an animation. He was going to write it for me.
Cool.
So, yeah, one of the things I announced on the show was all these things I had planned. This was on Monday for my comics. Outside of the Wiz, I'm transferring a lot over to animation now. Awesome. And I that's always been like my number one. Comics and animation have always been like my number one passion. And sometimes they're a tie, and you can't, can't decide which one you want to do. And I decided the only way to do it is to do both. So I'm going to be building some small projects, but eventually working up to some bigger animations. And
that's awesome, dude.
I
love it.
And the one that George is going to write is going to be fun. I can't wait for it.
He's a fantastic writer. Fantastic, yeah.
Yeah. And by the way, he was the only one I thought of to write the story because he's such a fan, of the Disney afternoon that we grew up on. I don't know if you had it over there in England, but it was like DuckTales cartoons and Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Yeah. We had that on Saturdays.
On Saturdays. Oh, we had that Monday through Friday, and it was like you get home from school, and you grab your snack and you sit down for 2 hours and watch Disney cartoons, and it was fantastic. But when I read his Wonder Duck, I'm like, he's the only person who can write this. So
yeah.
But enough about George and other people and me. Let's talk about you, man. let's talk about like what got you into comics.
Mhm.
What was some of your inspirations? Like, tell us about yourself.
So I have been a fan since I was 8. And the reason that I got into comics, I was always like, because I grew up in the 80s, I was, born in 80.
Yeah.
So I grew up with the best cartoons and the best toys.
I'm not going to disagree. I was born in '76. I grew up on all the '80s toys.
Exactly. So good. So good. And then obviously things like Turtles and G.I. Joe, and they had stuff that, you can have some of the comics there. But I started reading like very British comics, your Beanos, Dandies, things like that, which are
Mhm.
fantastic.
Yeah.
And then got to a stage where, more American toys were coming in, so I was getting like Batman figures and stuff. And then when Batman '89 was, being advertised, like I said, I was still 8, and I remember bugging my older brother. My older brother was 14 years older than me, and basically to get me to kind of shoo and go away, he gave me a comic and just kind of went, "No, go." And it was a Batman comic. I don't remember the issue or anything like that. I just remember thinking, "This is awesome."
Mhm.
Hooked. That done. It's just literally just stamped. You might as well just stamped for life. And that was it. And then I started when I could afford to buy them. When I was doing like odd jobs and things like that. The Marvel comics where I were cheaper, especially the Fantastic Four ones. So I started collecting those, and then it just became an obsession. And then I had to have, and at last count, it's like I think I've got like something like 10,000 comics and like 500-600 graphic novels, and
Wow.
yeah, it's
I
a
thought
lot.
I had a big collection. I got rid of most of my stuff
Yeah.
years ago. Some of it I'm still upset that I got rid of. But yeah, before I got married, I had 30 boxes, and
Mm.
you have a lot more than that
Yeah, yeah.
then.
I managed to save them from my divorce as well. You can keep the house. Just running away with my comics. But yeah, no, I've got a lot. Again, most of them are in the storage. So like the graphic novels are what I kind of tend to go to now. But yeah, as I got older, I started to go to like darker, storylines and characters and stuff. Your tastes change, um, and then some of the storylines that came out of like Wildstorm for me. I loved Wildstorm because I love the Authority. I thought they were fantastic.
Yeah, great
And
character.
then, oh, so good, so good. And then obviously like Hellboy and things like that.
Mhm.
It's still to this day, I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. I mean, I'm a little different in my tastes, but I'm right there with you
Mm.
on the stuff. Even though I don't, I never really read a lot of Wildstorm. I'm very familiar with the characters,
Yeah.
and I know, about the stories, and the '90s era comics for me was a very confusing era
Hmm.
of comics
Yeah.
because I'm leaving the style that I grew up on that was like house style for both Marvel and DC, you
Mm.
know, and all of a sudden we're getting these new looks, and I'm not sure if I like them yet.
Yeah.
And then everything, like you said, it gets darker, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know, is this really what I want out of my comics, out of my superheroes? And I got into it. I'm not gonna lie, I got into it for a while, and
Mm.
then like but I started doing my own comic in '97. That's when I first self-published.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
for me, I was already starting to build like my ideas, my comic business, if you will. And I'm like, do I want to do just another copy of what's out? What do I want to bring? So I was experimenting with um, different types of stories before I was like, okay, this is what I'm definitely doing. And yeah, it was because I got into a lot of independence. I was reading a lot of independent books.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know I mentioned on the show. I don't know if you ever read it, but one of my favorites back in the '90s was Scud the Disposable Assassin.
Oh no, but that's a great title.
Yeah, it's one of what's his name? I'm blanking on his name, but he was one of the creators of Rick and Morty. Um,
Right. Right.
but he basically, it was a story about a robot you can get out of a vending machine, an assassin robot that you can, and when they complete their target, they explode. So while he was cleaning himself in the bathroom after a battle, he sees on his back and it says, please stand back or whatever. This unit will explode upon deletion of its target or something. He's like, I don't want to die. So the first few stories were him taking on jobs to keep his target that he was bought for on life support. And then when the thing dies, basically, I forget if it's natural causes or something else kills him. He's like, I can't die now, so he goes out and just gets hired as an assassin.
Amazing.
It's fantastic.
That's like a really warped short circuit. Like,
yeah. Let's see, what do we got here? Let's say Hellblaze from the UK made me fall in love with the horror comics in 2000. Made me fall in love with UK comics. I got my UK. Yeah, no, listen, I read 2000 AD books as well. I mean, that's kind of some of those were a little, they were different, a little dark.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love it. I recite lines out of Short Circuit too. Usually, I think that one makes me laugh more.
80s is the best for films too. I love the 80s. They're the best.
Yeah. But yeah, no. So yeah, I mean, the 90s was a really interesting time, and I eventually found my voice. But you started making your own books for a bit, right? Are you still doing that? I never met this.
Doing that. I am still doing that. Yeah,
so,
yeah.
What I was going to ask you, what was your first book that you did?
So my first comic book was when I launched the company, but before that, I actually had a book of poetry written and published. And it was, I'm from an Irish family. You'll see the shamrocks here, look. And we love the kind of rhyming, kind of limericky type thing. Yeah. So I wrote a book full of these kind of like rhyming, limericky type things, and it was called My Little Book of Big Bugbears, Nursery Rhymes for Grumpy Grown-Ups. And it was everything that annoyed me, and then I turned it into a kind of mockery kind of poem.
That's genius.
Thank you.
That really is. Is that available still?
It was. I took it off maybe last year, but I'm thinking of putting it back up just as a digital.
That sounds fun to read.
Yeah, I enjoyed writing it because it was just daft. I just got to just be silly. And then make fun of things that annoyed me, because then they don't annoy you as much anymore. So there was things like that I think goldfish are a particularly pointless pet, that I'm heavily allergic to cats and they know it, that 90s boy band gestures used to make me laugh a lot, but also irritated me at the same time. And that I couldn't sit next to someone who was chewing with their mouth open because it made me feel homicidal.
Oh wow, those are great! Just great titles,
Yeah.
Oh, this sounds so fun. Yeah, I mean, let me know if you put that up on digital. I definitely
I will do.
See a copy of that.
Yeah,
I love that type of stuff.
Oh, it was fun. It was fun to write. But the first comic I ever did was in 2020. It was the launch of ASAP. So we launched with a comic called Messiah, issue 1. And then we launched with a double anthology book, which was a flip book, which was written by myself and Laurie Cunningham, who you will have later on in the month. And you will also have Dave Howard, who's been obviously in the chat. He's not, that's none. But me and Laurie had written this book, as I say, and it was a double anthology, and it was in the same world as Messiah. I also went, okay, I will bring back the book. But yeah, and then it was when we launched the company. We literally launched the company with the comic and the book. And I'm I'm still writing Messiah. I'm also Laurie and I have turned Points of Villainy, Points of Virtue into two trilogies. So you've got into comics. So you've got the Points of Villainy trilogy, which is two stories per issue, and then we're just about to launch the first issue of Points of Virtue. But yeah, we've really expanded from that. Like we've got several titles. Nem is writing OPSEC. George Medina has taken the reins on Dead of Night from me because I'm too busy to write all of them. But I'm still writing Messiah, Person, and I'm still adapting the others over as well.
Wow, it's a lot.
Yeah, busy. Yeah, it's good.
Well, okay, ASAP Imagination. I always want to say animation, but it's ASAP
Yeah.
Imagination.
Yes.
Started in 2020 then.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
You launched with you said a book, which was Messiah, and a anthology. I mean,
yeah.
Did they come out at the same time?
Yes. Yeah, we released them at the same time because they're part of the same world, you see. So.
Yeah, George just said it's a fun universe.
Cheers, buddy.
So how long were you working on these before you launched? Because I mean, they just don't automatically appear. So I mean, you said okay, 2020 is our launch date or whatever. And
yeah.
How long were you working on it?
I had submitted Messiah to Dark Horse in 2019, late 2019, maybe mid 2019, and never heard back. And it wasn't completed at that point. I'd given the full synopsis and so on and so forth, and never heard back. And then, like many during the events of 2020, I lost my job, was locked in, and I just thought, while I'm here, I can't do anything.
Yeah,
I can't, So I'm gonna. I thought I'm gonna see if it's possible to start a company, and I did, and I was very lucky with the way it worked out. And the writing for Messiah was completed, the artwork completed in 2020. And then when we were writing the book, we'd kind of got like this kind of moving deadline.
Yeah.
Laurie will tell you how much she cussed me on this one, but we kind of got this moving deadline, and we wrote there's 16 stories in the book, and we wrote 8 each, and it's a mixture of over the 2 titles. And I decided one day that we weren't going to keep moving the deadline, so I sent her a message along the lines of I've done what I've done, kind of deal with it. And what I'd actually done was tweet that the book would be out by the November. So I officially launched the company in the August. More or less said to her straight away, I've just put it out there for public, so we've got to finish the book. She called me some names. There was some caps lock used. But the end of November, the book and the comic were out, and it was launched. There we go.
Great. And I'm just gonna pull up a picture of the book right now. So I'm pulling up your website here.
There you go.
And there we are. And this is Messiah. Can you tell us a little bit about the book, like what it's about?
Yeah, so I wanted to have a character that got a really flawed power, because you've got so many characters that have the perfect power and all that kind of stuff. So the story goes that gentleman there is called Daniel, and he's an escapee amongst others from this kind of organization who've been experimenting on people. Okay. And he now has the ability to heal other people, but what happens is he'll take the wound. So if you're cut across the hand, he can take the wound from you, but he cannot heal himself. So it's that ultimate, I've been shot, please save me. I can't because I don't want to die. Sorry.
No, I mean, listen, that actually sounds like a really cool story. you know, and there's a lot to play with there because, like you just said, you know, if he takes on too dangerous of a wound, he's not going to survive.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I mean that it brings up a lot of questions and choices that, you know, people could make. And so called by many names.
That's accurate and fair.
So yeah, no, that sounds like a really interesting story. I'd love to. I'm gonna have to get a copy for myself at some point so I can read it.
Thank you kindly.
Yeah, I gotta get it. Wow. So yeah, so ASAP Imagination. So when that started, why is this not allowing? Oh, there it goes. So these are some of your books here.
Yeah.
You got a lot. So
yeah, that's a mixture of the NE1 World as well in there. That's a mixture of everything. Yeah.
So you have 7 pages of content here. I'm just saying, working since 2020.
Yeah.
You know, 3 years, 7. This is fantastic, man. I'm just excited for you for the amount of stuff you were able to put together in the short amount of time.
Thank you so much. No, I appreciate that a lot. I've been very lucky with a lot of people helping me, and you know, just great people, really great.
And art-wise, you outsource that to, you know, you find artists and work with that. And how have you found that to be? You know, obviously during the pandemic it was probably much easier, but is it still as easy to find artists, or do you have a team now?
Well, we've got a team now, so we have. So what I did when we started, you know, we'd got an artist who had done the first issue of Messiah but didn't want to return for the second. We had an artist who'd done the first issue of Dead of Night and didn't want to return for the second because he wanted to launch his own thing. And then I thought, well, I kind of want consistency in my artwork from this point on. Like, I don't want differences. So everyone from that point has always been signed up for a 4-issue deal, because we're looking at each of our arcs, if you like, will be for 4 issues, and we can, you know, we can we can finish the arc, and then so the first 4 issues of all of our titles. So our titles are Messiah, Dead of Night, Sister Grimm, OPSEC, and Person, which is spelled P-U-R-S-O-N. So each of those is 4 issues, and they all take place in the same world, as well as the 2 trilogies, as well as Whole that you've just seen there as well. So the 4-issue arcs are to establish those titles and those characters, and then when we hit from issue 5 onwards, we can start to explore the greater world and start crossing people over.
Wow. Sounds like a very in-depth.
Yeah, it's good. It's cool.
This is nice.
But yeah, this is like a mix. You'll see all different things from NE1 World to everything in there. That's like our main everything.
Yeah. Oh wow. And so besides, well, actually, first let's take a look over here. This was another thing you were talking about.
Yes, so that is the NE1 World. Yes, that's our platform where we publish for the creators.
Yes. So ASAP Imagination is basically your properties, and NE1 is other people or anyone. You know, it's
yeah.
I like you know, nice little play on words there. So.
Thank you.
So this is great. Yeah, you got some good stuff coming on here now. You like I mentioned in the intro, you've done a lot for like the indie comic world. All right. There's a lot of stuff going on. We're going to talk about a couple of those, but first, let me go to here. What does it say? Can't wait to play with other people. Toys. So many great characters.
Thank you, man.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about what else you do for you know, we're going to talk about gig. We're going to talk about
Mhm.
some of the other stuff that you do. Whatever one you want to start talking about first, please let me know, and I'm happy to, because I have questions for both. So
Oh, no problem.
whatever you feel comfortable with starting with.
Oh, well, you're in the right place for sure. Like the NE1 World came after, like, so the main site is, or we call it Our World, and then the NE1 World was we launched that in 2021, so we'd just been going a year when we launched it, and then we launched it with a book called Perspectives, which was a prose anthology, and it was 16 writers, and we published it for charity, and it was for a charity called the Dyspraxia Foundation, which is a condition that my son has. So we launched it with that, and then what we did was Lance Lucero. Lance Lucero was the first person to kind of come on board, and he came on board with his book, his graphic novel, Bob, Non-Union Psychic, and then all of a sudden, like after Lance came on board, Malcolm came on board with Dog Eaters, and then it started to move where we were doing all the publishing for them, whether it was physical, digital, doing their merch, and we grew it that way. But then in February of this year, I decided to open the kind of floodgates to doing digital distribution for people. So we actually do digital distribution for other publishers as well as Self Pub and so on and so forth.
And what made you decide to do that? And not, I'm not asking like secrets you don't have to tell. Like, how do you go about doing something like that? Like, to digital distribution. The reason I ask is because when I hear that, I'm like, okay, well, I can make a PDF file of a book or whatever and send it off to whatever, send it off to a company, let's say, I don't know, Amazon or whatever, and they can, that's technically my distributor. How do you differ from something like that?
So what we do when we do the distribution or the publishing for people, we do a little bit extra than with others. So, for example, because we do prose as well as books, as well as comic books, so we'll ensure that it's your book is on PDF, and we'll put it out on EPUB. We'll help you with the marketing that other distributors and publishers don't do. We'll get you onto podcasts. We do these things called 5 in 5s, where we have a video with the individual, and it's 5 questions in 5 minutes, and which is the perfect little nugget. It's a perfect 5 minutes is great for YouTube, and then you splice it up, and then you've got 5 1-minute videos, which we will start putting out on our socials. So we'll use Reels and Shorts and TikTok videos, and we don't charge for that. There are charge services. So, for example, there's a guy who is kind of like the poster child for it, really, because he's kind of done everything through us. So it's a guy called Christian Prosperi, and we published him in Perspectives, and it was his first ever time published ever, and it was like, this is it, I'm in print, this is the dream, which then gave him the, as he put it, much needed kick up the backside to do his book. So then he was like, if I do my book, can we, so we discussed it, and we said, well, so he's like, I'm going to need, I need an editor. So we found an editor. Well, we work with editors and cover artists and so on and so forth. So he was able to get an editor and a cover artist straight from us. Again, they are paid services, but we tried to keep the cost down for him, and everything was done kind of under one roof. And now his book is edited professionally. His cover is done. His book is now available for pre-order. So it's great. But there's so many little things, again, like the 5 in 5, getting people on podcasts, working on the marketing with them, that we just do because we get it. It's tough. It's hard. We have our own show over on our YouTube channel called the NE1 World Showcase, which is literally just about the individual. They can go on to others. It's like working with your peers kind of thing. you know. So yeah, we do that, and then I'm now working on doing physical distribution for other people as well.
That's fantastic.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think what you're doing, because we've chatted, you know, privately about some things, and and you know, ever since we started talking, I've been wanting to get you on the show and talk about this, you know, let the world, or at least my viewers, know. And you know, I think it's interesting. You know, there's, you know, I have on the show and privately, and George can tell you, I complain about the comic industry quite a bit. I have a lot of issues. I am at the grumpy old man stage. I am, you know, yelling at the kids to get off my lawn type of thing.
Yeah.
It's I'm just, and I don't know if, like I said, I've been doing this now, what, oh God, so, like I said, since '97, so over 20 years. I've been
26 years.
Yeah. So it's a lot, and I've seen a lot. I've seen changes. I've seen trends come and go. It's and I'm at the point. One of the reasons I want to do animation is I'm at the point of I'm angry at. I'm sorry, I just saw George's comment. You complain away, man. So let me say hi to Dylan in the audience there. So, like, for me, I'm just tired. I love comics. I will always be a fan. I'll always be promoting. You know, I'll do my whiz for as long as it you know, me and him speak in my head here. But I need another outlet for my storytelling right now.
Yeah.
I'll never leave comics. I'll always want to promote them, have people on my show talk about them. But I'm kind of jaded at the moment.
Yeah.
And when I see people like you doing what you're doing, it gives me hope for the future of comics.
Thank you, man.
You know, people think because I do like kid-friendly stuff that's all I want to see. I will read anything that's put in front of me. You know, whether I like it or not, that I'll give anything a try. And you're putting out so many different types of books that you're kind of opening it up that anyone could kind of come in and read your stuff. Like just talking about George, I see, you know, I'm looking down at my Cintiq here and I see his Rust book. I read the intro that I don't remember if he sent me the PDF or I read it when he put it up on Webtoon. But it's a good story. You know, it's a good story. But I don't know your other stuff. Like, that seems a little more tamed compared to some of the just looking at titles, you know?
Yeah.
So let's just see. George says, all jokes aside, I hear you, man. I totally get what you're saying about the frustration. And then we got, so 50-something grumpy old man here and making my own comics with it. ASAP has made me love comics even more, and I've met my great indie creators. And that's the thing. Like, it's great that you've created a community, you know? And this is the thing. It's like, one of the things I love about comics are all the friends I've made. The majority of my friends are creators.
Yeah, same.
You know? And when we get together, we just talk. We talk usually shop, but it's I love it. I love that I could be around other people who inspire me to create stuff.
Yeah. No, I agree.
And I'm more of an indie fan than I am
Thank you.
A mainstream comic guy. So like Marvel and DC, I rarely touch. I mean, there's a couple of DC books that I'm currently into, but well, actually one at the moment. But like everything else I read are indie books. And I love seeing more and more. One of the, you know, I hate to say it, but the pandemic was a blessing for creators. It put people in their home and allowed them to take the time to build stuff. Sure, we saw a lot of Kickstarters come out and other crowdfunding sites, but we saw like a new emergence of indie creators because now they had the time, and we're
Yeah.
seeing them not done like when I started. Whoa, sorry. When I started, I used to make ash cans. This was my first ash can of my character Plunger Pup, right?
I know.
This
Yeah.
is from like 96, 97, something like that. This was what we used to do and pass around.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to do that these days.
No. No,
And it's
exactly. Yeah.
so much easier now. And I love that people are taking advantage of all the opportunities out there. And you really are doing things like that and bringing it um, to a lot more people, especially now that you're now doing distribution, both digital and physical.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, that's it. It's I agree with the thing about indies. I remember having a conversation with some friends. Um, like I think it was like Al Mega at Comic Crusaders and Nem and Lance, and I said that, and I remember going, and I quote, that 2020 was the rise of the independents.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said, and I stand by that. But no, it was that, and then, but for us, it was a natural progression. Like we launched ASAP, then we launched NE1 World. I should say as well, when at the same time that we launched NE1 World, we actually launched a children's book platform as well called ASAP Minis.
Oh, nice.
So that's out there as well. So we've got some. It's the smallest of our platforms. We've got a couple of books by this idiot at the moment on there, and then we've got a guy who's bringing his book over, and then we've got a publisher that's got some kid-friendly books that are going into there as well. So we do have a platform called ASAP Minis as well.
Oh, I may have to chat with you. I have a children's book
Yeah,
all
please.
set to go. I'm actually I'm publishing it through Ingram Spark, and I'm having issues getting my cover uploaded, but it's all set to go. I'm like excited. I think it's a fun book.
Give me a shout, 100%. Yeah,
definitely have to chat about that. So you also somebody just beat me to it. All right, Gig. We were about to talk about Gig. You created Gig.
I did.
Tell us what Gig is, and then we're gonna watch the video for it you sent me.
Cool. So Gig popped in my head in November of last year because I think when you look at the internet and social media, when you're a creator, there's a lot of noise, a lot of bots and opinions and arguments and stuff. So you could go on and say, "Hey, can anyone recommend an artist?" Right. So you want one simple thing: can anyone recommend an artist? And you'll have bots sliding up in your DMs. You'll have people turning around going, "You should try this person," and then someone else will go, "No, I hate them," and you can't. Then next thing, they're having an argument. The original person's left the conversation, and they haven't got anywhere with it. Yeah. And it's a minefield. And just like we did with the NE1 World, where you can get the things that you need, I just thought the extension from that. And so it popped in my head in November, and I was trying to ignore it, and then all of a sudden my brain gave it a name, which was GIG, which stands for Global Indie Group. And once I'd given it a name, I had to do it. And I just thought, I'm going to see if it's possible to do. And I spoke with Laurie and George Medina and said, like, I'm gonna see if we can make this site, but if so, will you two help me push and promote it? And then we reached out to a bunch of people that we know. So Gig is essentially a place where you can go with inception of idea. You can turn up with a single idea. You can join Gig, and if let's say you've got a comic book idea and you're not very good at writing, or you struggle with writing or whatever, so you can come in, you can go to Gig, and you can go, right, there's a bunch of writers, so you can get writers. Then you can jump over here and you can get artists, and then you can go, right, I need to crowdfund it. We work with some crowdfunding things. Right, I need to publish this. We've got a list of publishers. Right, I need to promote this. We've got a list of, like yourself, podcasts. podcasters that are indie friendly in promotion. You know, oh, I need to get this, you know, out there for review. We've got a section for review. I need to get it edited. We've got a section of editors. So it's everything that a creative, whether it's comics or whatever, might need, you know, from start to finish. And it was important that we made sure that the people in there made sure that it was good people who wanted to help. And it was, you know, it was good quality. And what I did when I set up the site, we put a like a monthly subscription. It's $5.99 a month to subscribe. But one of the reasons why we put that on there was just to get rid of bots. They're not going to pay to come in, you know, and scammers won't pay to come in. So it instantly gets rid of those. But one of the main things was, again, let's say you contact one of the artists, you strike up the deal with the artist. I have nothing to do with it. You see, the deal is done outside of Gig. Gig is basically like just a hub, where you can meet and speak and, you know, all these creators, and then the price is arranged between you and whoever. And Gig takes nothing off the top. There's no like 4.5% or anything, or, you know, and you're not restricted either. You know, some sites restrict you to just working in their, you know, platform, and it's like, no, we're not controlling the situation. We're trying to create relationships for people. You know,
oh, that's great. That's great. That I again, something else I love, something else you're doing for the community that you know, is there to help. Let's watch the video. You guys, hopefully you hear the sound. I occasionally have sound issues, but when I upload it into StreamYard, I think it should play fine. All right.
If you're a writer, podcaster, artist, or indie creator of any kind, you'll know what a struggle it can be to find creative services at an affordable price. And that's where Gig comes in. The global indie group has everything you need under one roof. You can connect with publishers, writers, editors, artists, videographers, musicians, composers, voiceover artists, podcasters, and more.
Hi, I'm Lori Calcaterra, and I'm on Gig.
Hi, this is Ben from Comic Book Squares, and we're on Gig.
This is George Medina, and I'm on Gig.
Hi, I'm Morgan, and I'm on Gig.
I'm Lauren.
And I'm Matt, and we're Hops Geek News,
the geek-centric beer-loving pop culture podcast.
We're on Gig.
Cheers.
Hi, I'm Letzi, and I'm on Gig.
Hi, I'm Witty, and I'm on Gig.
We're on Gig.
Head to globalindiegroup.com now and check it out.
That was good. Did the sound play for you guys?
I could hear it, yeah.
Awesome. Well, if you can hear it, then everyone else should.
Yeah, that's fine.
Wow. I want to do
We'll sort it out, no worries.
Yeah, I'm actually up on there as well. So
you are indeed,
yes,
my friend.
I am. It's a nice place. Actually, I was going to tell you, I've had a couple of people, I don't remember who it was now, but told me they found me off there to come on my show.
Fantastic.
So
that's great to hear.
A couple of people wrote me, and I'm like, and I've never heard of them. I asked them how, because usually I get recommended, hey, my friend, this person, you know, told me to reach out to you or whatever, and that's just, you know, how I usually get people asking to come on the show. Yeah. But I said, how'd you find me? And they're like, oh yeah, you know, Gig. And I don't know if they're part of it or they saw like like an Instagram post about it and checked out the site. I don't remember, but yeah, a couple of months ago, I had a guest on that told me. So yeah, no, it's fantastic, and I'm glad you have that as a platform. I didn't bring up the Gig website. Let me do that and show just for those watching kind of how it works. Is it just gig.com?
It's globalindiegroup.com.
Okay, all under one roof. Do I need to sign in?
No, you can just show the main thing if you want. It's fine, yeah. Present. You might not be able to click into each one without signing in, but I don't know.
Well, as long as it doesn't show my password, I'm okay.
That's fair.
So this is what it looks like, and when you get to actually right up here, this is where it starts. You can become a member, and then this is just another like trailer intro here, and then this is where it is. So let's just see if I click on podcasts. I have to sign in. Let's see.
Yeah.
That's it. Sign in. And let's not look here. Let's go home. And let's just see podcasts. So yeah, got a few. I don't remember the logo I gave you. I thought I was on here. What happened?
I think you might be as an artist. I think we've put you in us.
Oh, I thought I was on their podcast. I'll look. Yeah,
we'll add you on there.
So. No, it's okay. I'm just let's check it out. Artist. Oh, yeah, there I am. First,
there you go.
First one.
Yeah, so if you click on yours, and then it'll show. Because I don't want to give it all away to people.
Yeah.
But yeah, there you go, and then they can come to you.
Okay, yeah, I remember sending you the Get in Tune logo. So
that's fine. We'll get that set up.
Yeah.
No problem. But yeah, and then if people come to you as they want you as an artist, then they can see the services of which you do and so on and so forth, and then they can contact you directly, which is the point. Because again, I don't want to start messing around with people's deals and start saying, well, I should probably take a cut of that. No,
no, that's all. It looks good though. I mean, listen, what you're doing is I keep saying it's just great for people. I mean, crowdfunding. This is an interesting one. Oh, so you only got Crowdfunder under there?
Yeah, at the moment, yeah, but we've got a good deal with them, and they work with us on it.
Now, how are they different from something like Kickstarter? I've never used them or actually even heard of them.
So what I liked about Crowdfunder, it was after having a conversation. Well, I'd seen them on Catch the Craze, but also I'd spoken with George on this one. But what I liked about the gentleman who's running it was it was very similar to my journey. So he was like literally the first person like I reached out to, because he had a genuine. We had a video for, and there was just a very genuine want to help, which instantly just stayed with me. So I spoke to him about it, and I said, this is what I want to do. And literally, he was like, yeah, of course. I mean, of course, this is what we do. So they're smaller than Kickstarter, of course, but again, it's like we're smaller than other publishers. But it's like, if you can make your name together, if you can grow together, then absolutely do so,
Yeah, that's good. I'm sorry, I was reading while you were talking too. Now that I'm reading, I think I have heard of this one. I mean, listen, you're making the connections with the people that are, number one, able to help you, but number two, also, like you said, he was kind of on the same path as you. So, it's a good. Wow. Sorry, just still reading. Let me see what George says here. It says they're a good combination of both Kickstarter and Indiegogo. You can have a fixed campaign where it's all or nothing, or you can have that's actually a pretty nice option.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but they're great people, and it was more personable.
And that's nice to see. I'm a big supporter of helping out more. Like I said, the independents, the little guy. I like to support them than buy off big companies.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's really nice. You can tell she's a writer.
Yeah.
I wouldn't come up with anything like that.
It's just cool. But yeah, with Laurie and George, they helped me push and promote it, and so on and so forth. And it was just important. I think that we just, if you've got the ability to help, then why not? My journey, I was one of those people when I began. I started on Amazon as most, and one of the things that got me was that. So when me and Laurie brought out the book, it was like I say, it was like a double cover, and I had the you'll notice that publisher right there. Oh, who are those guys at the top?
I'm just a little. I know Darkfire too, so I know you guys. Darkfire. And this is your minis. That's nice.
That's minis. That's it. Yeah. But yeah, we'll be adding more and more publishers to this. We're in talks with some, because again we're going to cover genres. We need publishers that cover genres that we don't cover, kind of thing. So there'll be more there. But this is why we try and keep people looking at it, and so yeah. But yeah, if you keep the rest of it secret now, and then they can come in and so on and so forth, because it's a paid service. I'm trying to.
Yeah. Now let me ask, when they come on, like, okay, you got writing consultant here, Morgan Quaid.
Mm-hmm. Yes, who's also the voice of the gig advert.
Oh, is he? That's cool.
Yeah.
When he when he pays the $5.99, is that per section, or is that for? You could say, I want to be in writer, editor, training.
Oh no. So when you pay the $5.99, you get, as a person coming in looking, you get everything.
Okay.
So you get full access to the site and so on and so forth.
Oh no. I mean, like, when he pays, like, where he's listed, is it only one section, or wherever they want?
So no, it's wherever they want. Okay. Yeah. So if they turn around and go, I do I'm a podcaster, I'm an editor, I'm this, then yeah, it's $5.99. We'll list you in multiple. I don't charge for each section. It that doesn't make sense. If you can bring more to the table, then you're doing more for people. So I'm all about that. But yeah, I was saying about Amazon, and as I say, it was one of those things where we did our book, and as I say, with like the double cover, and had the proof copy come from my printers, great, and we had the proof copy come from Amazon, great.
Yeah.
So I clicked approve. Within like 24 hours or whatever it was, they rejected my book. Well, mine and Laurie's book, they rejected our book.
Wow.
And I was like, why? So me being me, I messaged them and I was like, well, why? Long story short, I actually ended up on the phone with them. So I ended up on the phone because, again, it like Create Space had become KDP. So I ended up on the phone with them, and they said, well, no, because half the book's printed upside down. And I said, I know, that's how I did it, because you turn it over and you've got the other book. And they said, well, we can't print it. And I said, I beg to differ, because I've got it in my hand, It's like, and it says proof. So they said, well, no, what you need to do is you can either change the format of your book, or we just won't print it. And that was a decision made for me. I was like,
wow.
Bye. So we pulled the book, and then within, I think it was a month or 2 months maybe, I realised we can do our own digital. So I pulled everything. Yeah. And the one night, and I know I said before we came on air, I'm an insomniac, but the one night, I think, with working on it with Laurie, but we moved everything over and we tested everything, and I worked for like something ridiculous, like 12, 13 hours. And then the funny thing was, Laurie, who's based in Canada, who was 7 hours behind me.
Oh, wow.
She said, I'm done, I'm going to bed. And I was sat here on my sofa, and I looked at my window there, and I was like, oh, it's light. Like, and the sun was up, but we'd moved everything over. From that point, we were like, I'm done. I'm not using those kind of platforms anymore. You can, again, there are better platforms, but when they've got too much control over, then I'm just like, no, I'm not changing So it kind of set the way that we were going to work from that point.
No, I completely get you. I mean, I'm not out to knock any company, but I know people who have used Amazon, and some have amazing things to say, and some have terrible things to say. It's it just is what it is in the business. You're going to find stuff. I have friends, and there's so many different comic companies, printing companies. I will mention Kablam because it's just a big one for indie guys. And I have friends who will never touch them, but the majority of books I see from friends of mine are when I'm at shows, are from Kablam, and then it moves over. Some people are using Comics Wellspring, and that seems to be the big one now for a lot of people. Like, so those are like the two top ones that I'm seeing people making their books with, and it comes down to preference and what you like to do. I actually, I'll tell you, I went with Ingram Spark, although I'm having these issues, because I wanted more control than going through something like Amazon. Now, I don't know if you're familiar with the site, but basically I purchased my own, ISBN number. I put the book up, although I'm still having issues with the cover. I defined it, and now what happens is, because Amazon has taken away so much business from brick and mortar stores, they don't look at Amazon books to put in their store. It's rare to get an Amazon book into a brick or mortar store. And I want my children's book that I'm working on to get into stores. I want them into libraries, if I can get them into schools, things like that. But they're not gonna pull from Amazon. It's just what the business is. I have a few friends who are librarians, and they tell me, we don't usually pull books from there. So I wanted more control in distribution, and I can set up a store with a direct link to it. Plus, it also automatically links to Amazon, but Amazon doesn't print it. It's just like a distributor based. So I'm like, that's why I chose that.
Yeah, well, what we do as well, so whether someone signs up for us for like everything, or they just sign up for the distribution. So if they sign up for us as being their publisher, one of the key points is all rights are maintained by the creator, so we don't touch anyone's rights at all. That's ever.
Fantastic.
And then on top of that, it's when we look at the different levels of distribution, we don't, or we look at other distributors. It's not, if you're just doing the distribution through us, like the digital distribution, it's not, we're not exclusive. So if you said, oh, but I'm with such and such, that's fine. If you're not exclusive with them, you can come to us as well. Or if you're already with us and you want to go with someone else as well, that's fine. Think of it as another platform, another place to do it. So we don't have exclusive contracts for people unless they're fully publishing with us, and then we do, the full kind of kit and caboodle. But again, we're 3 years old in August, and also shameless plug for August. Starting last year, we decided to do our own online convention. So this is our second year, and it's the 24th and the 25th of August, and it's called the NE1 Con, and it's over on our YouTube channel. And we run, so it's 5 shows on the 24th and 5 shows on the 25th. We'll have game shows, we'll have chats, we'll have announcements, various things. So if people are about, come see us. But take a look at our social media, and then we'll announce it as it gets closer.
Speaking of social media, I was just about to put in the chat there, so everyone can go if they want to follow you. This is this is your Instagram page.
Yep.
And you guys, everyone who's on Instagram, please follow. I will show you some of the stuff right now. Let me present that. There we go. And here we are on your Instagram page where you do obviously a lot of reels or videos, which is great. I don't know how you have the time to edit, but that is it's one of the reasons I do a live show.
Yeah, if you if that, I was just going to say that one you're on, if you could click on that one, that's all our characters from our main world. So the titles that I spoke about earlier, those are the characters within those. So that picture was literally given, like, it was finished and sent to me 2 days ago.
Wow. And who's the artist on this? I really enjoy the work.
So that is one of our artists, and his name's Whitsy Gecko. Is his his artist name? He's a fantastic. I mean, look at it; it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's great to have that kind of group shot.
Very nice.
Mm.
Yeah, I like that. Let's see, what else do we got going on? So tell us about this.
So Nerds the Word was a game show that I came up with last year. So, like, I filled an hour and I did a game show with various things, and then I decided to start running Nerds the Word bite size, where people. So because I love like retro films, so on bite size we do name that film. So like I'll play 30 seconds of usually an 80s film soundtrack, and whoever guesses it correctly, they win our ASAP digital gift pack, and we just send it over on a link, which has got some free comics and stuff. So
nice.
And that was a show an hour ago, actually. If anyone has a look at our YouTube channel, so the gentleman Paul Gomez did a book called PTSD. For the entire month of July, every sale, 100% of the sales from the digital book will go to Wounded Warriors Project.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
David says my wallpaper is that art. I'm assuming he means the other art.
Yeah. He downloaded. I sent it him today. Yeah, because obviously he writes for that section.
Nice. Nice. This is a yeah. I mean, listen, you post enough daily. I see your stuff. All the time. You know. So this is great stuff here.
And there's Laurie.
Yeah. That's. I'm curious though about this drink and draw. I love drink and draws. So
that is Laurie actually hosts that show. Mm-hmm. So that's every Thursday, which is
tomorrow.
So I'm just trying to think of the time because I'm working on GMT. So it's my 4 a.m. What does she have it as? Yeah.
MDT, is that Mountain or?
Yeah, it's Mountain because she's in Calgary. So.
Okay. I don't know exactly. My geography is terrible. I'm in New York, and I basically know that.
It starts in 25 hours.
Okay.
There you go. That's how I know, because it's for 4 a.m. and it's 3 a.m. now.
I can't believe you're up this late, man. First of all, I feel terrible.
No.
That you are.
No, don't worry. This is normal. Don't worry. Honestly, it's fine.
Well, let's take a look here. You got yourself in some stores here.
Yeah, that's the second shelf down, and that's all of our stuff. Everything.
This one right here.
Yeah, that's all of our titles there.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah, I do these things called nomad tours. So as well as contacting comic book shops and doing the distribution that way, sometimes I like to just do, because as a writer, you get cabin fever and stuff. So what I do is I will pick a city. I'll have a look at all the indie bookshops, comic book shops within that city. And then I will literally go to that city for a couple of days, and I will go in and I will speak to them, have a chat with them, just kind of like talk, nerd out with them, show them some of the stuff that we've got. And then I catalog it, so I'll literally, my entire journey is done through social media, and then I'll tag them on it and stuff like that. And then that was one of the stores that I'd gone into on my last Nomad tour. They took all of our titles at the time.
That's nice. I mean, listen, that's great with what you're doing. You get to travel.
Yeah.
Lori comments and said it's 11 p.m. Eastern. I am usually still up at that time now. I used to start passing out at that time. Now I'm still up. I'm usually a 1 a.m., 2 a.m. bedtime for me.
Yeah. No, the drinking jaw is wicked. Yeah, it's really good.
So I'm gonna have to check it out and watch it. So that's tomorrow on your YouTube channel.
That's correct. Yeah.
Awesome. So yeah, you guys. Listen, you guys. I don't know how much more I can say about how awesome you guys are here, and what you're doing for the indie community, for what you're doing just for artists, how you're trying to connect everyone. I mean, this is what the comic world needed years ago, and I've seen and listen, I'm not gonna lie, I've seen people kind of attempt things like Gig, but it never worked out. Everything you're doing seems to be, going great. I mean, yeah, I just wish you all the best, and
thank you so much.
And want to see more of what you do. I'm excited for you, and excited for everyone who is part of you guys there. It's
no, I'm very grateful. Thank you so much. No, it's a blast, and I'm now in a position where this is my full-time job now. This is what I do for a living. So.
And that's fantastic. I mean, how many people can say that? Everybody. Let's be honest. Everybody who stopped working during the pandemic, lost their job, or whatever the heck it was, like creative people. I mean, we all tried to focus on our stuff and build our brand and build a business, so that most of us didn't have to go back to work. Very few of us were able to do that, and I'm thrilled that you were.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I wasn't able to, but that's a whole other story. But it's okay. I enjoyed my day. I just wish I had more time to draw.
I know, that's fair. I understand. No, it's been a blast, and I'm actually leaving for a Comic-Con in 4 hours. Actually,
oh, where's the show?
So it's London Film and Comic-Con, and I'm there. So setup is tomorrow, it's Thursday, and then the show is Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
So it's a large show then.
Yes. So it should be good. I'll be posting about it as I'm there. Again, I'll catalog it all as I'm doing it. But yeah, no, it should be a blast. I'm looking forward to it. And then I've got that, and then I'm at another convention at the end of this month. And Laurie's just come back from one in Canada. She did HorrorCon. Canada.
Have you ever done any in the United States here?
Not yet. I'm talking to both Nem and George about it. It's just double checking budgets and all that kind of stuff, and so on and so forth. Because one of the other things that I do, I had this. It's called a bolt-on. I pay for a bolt-on on my mobile phone service, which means I can make international calls for like 2 or 3p a minute. So when I'm working my day, I know that at 4 p.m. my time, that's around about 11 o'clock Eastern, which means the comic book shops are opening in like New York. So I'm actually able to phone them. And I'll phone the comic book shops and speak to them. And it's one of the things that I've really enjoyed is when you have this accent and your name is Haydes, they don't forget you. But yeah, it's been good. So I'll work like my day, and then I'll obviously if I've got orders, I'll pack the orders, I'll do this, I'll get some social media done, and then I'll be like, right, 4 o'clock, comic book shop time, because I've spoken to 99% of them over here in the UK. But yeah, I've spoken to comic book shops in pretty much all of New York now, and I'm just working on Los Angeles at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're trying to hit all the big cities.
Yes, as best we can, and then hopefully, like I say, next year, the aim is by year 5 that we'll be in regularly at conventions across the UK, US, and Canada. You know, so, and again, it's like when we did with our own platform of May of last year, I said we were going to do one a month of our own titles, and we stuck to that so far.
That's great.
You know. So if you say you're going to do something, it's like do your best to do it, kind of thing. You know.
I just want to say goodbye to George, who's running off. He's got to run. Awesome discussion, my friends. And just speaking of all the comic shops, George knows, you know, the new Spider's Web over by us here in Yonkers, and you know, he should do an introduction. If he won't or can't or whatever, I'm there all the time. I'll be there on July 15th. There's a kids' day going on from 1 to 5, so I'll be drawing. I'm drawing free for the kids, but I will have stuff for sale. So it'll be a fun time. I'm going to wait till next week to make my announcements. I was about to make a fun announcement, but I will wait. But I will be at EternalCon this weekend for those in America here in the New York area and want to head over to Long Island. And I will be working with comic book school, Buddy Scolara, you know, who's been on the show a few times. And I'll be working with the comic book school team doing panels both Saturday and Sunday. So yeah. That's one thing I do love to do at shows. I'm not into tabling too much anymore. I'm a little tired of just sitting there waiting for people to come. But I love just sharing my knowledge. I have over 20 years experience as an educator. So just talking about stuff, sharing it, educating people, taking their questions. I do really enjoy that. So
that's cool. Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, I'll be doing that. But yeah, I don't think I have much else to ask. I'm just thrilled to see everything you're doing.
Thank you.
And since it's like you said, 4 a.m. over there or whatever.
Quarter past 3. Yeah.
Quarter past 3. Okay, you know, I'm gonna let you go so you can get a nap in before you start all your packing of books and making your calls.
No, that's done. I've already done that. I'm ready. I'm ready. Don't worry.
All right. So first off, I want to thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Second, once again, I'm going to thank you for everything you're doing. I'm thrilled to see everything you're doing. I'm excited for you. I want to wish you all the best and hope to see you grow even more.
Thank you so much.
And yeah, if you don't mind hanging out backstage for a minute, I'll just do my wrap up and we'll talk. Thanks
Brilliant.
again.
Thanks, man. Thank you, dude.
All right, guys. So that was tonight's show. Had a great time. It was very interesting talking to Haydes. A lot of fun. Gig is awesome. ASAP Comics ASAP Imagination, is awesome. Everything he's doing, the NE1 World. Listen. Go out and support these guys. Everything that they do seems to be, succeeding, and I'm glad to see that. Just remember, like I said, I'll be at EternalCon this weekend. I don't even know what time my panels are yet. I don't even know 100% what panels I'm doing yet. The schedule isn't up, so I haven't seen that up. But as soon as the panel schedule goes up, I will post it and let you know where you can find me. Next week, I will be at the Spider's Web on the 15th. Doing Kids Day from 1 to 5. And last but not least, next week, I'm going to have the Spider's Web on. We're going to talk about the Kids Day event. It's going to be a blast. I got some announcements. Tom, one of the owners, has some announcements. It's going to be a really, really good time. So please make sure you tune in again, 9 p.m. Eastern, next Wednesday. And with that, everyone, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great night. Bye, guys.